The impact shook Ethan's workshop so hard that 3 wrenches clattered off his tool bench. For a moment, he thought the old water tower had finally collapsed. Then he saw the orange glow through the trees. Not fire exactly, but something that pulsed like a dying heartbeat. He grabbed his flashlight and ran. The forest was a mess of snapped branches and scorched earth. At the center of the devastation sat something that looked like a teardrop made of black glass, split open like a cracked egg. Steam hissed from its seams, and inside, curled against shattered restraints, was a woman. She wasn't human. He knew that immediately. Her skin had a faint luminescence like moonlight on water, and her hair moved as if caught in an invisible current. Blood, or something close to it, seeped from a gash across her temple, glowing faintly purple in the darkness. "Jesus," Ethan whispered. Her eyes snapped open. They were completely black, no whites at all, and they fixed on him with predatory focus. She tried to speak, but only managed a sound like wind through broken glass. Then her eyes rolled back and she went limp. Every rational thought told him to call someone. The police. The military. Anyone. Instead, he lifted her from the wreckage. She was lighter than she should have been, and warm in a way that felt electric. He carried her back through the forest, past his darkened farmhouse, and into the workshop where he spent most of his nights alone anyway. He laid her on the old couch he kept for late repairs, then stood there for a solid minute, wondering what the hell he'd just done. Over the next 3 days, Ethan learned to be a nurse for something he didn't understand. Her wounds closed faster than any humans would, leaving faint silver lines. She slept for hours at a time, sometimes murmuring in a language that sounded like music played backward. He repaired the metallic brace on her left arm using spare parts from a motorcycle engine, improvising connections until the damaged sections lit up again. When it activated, she gasped awake, fingers flexing. "You fixed it," she said, her voice rough but clear. Perfect English, though her accent belonged nowhere on Earth. "Best I could," Ethan replied, wiping grease from his hands. "You've been out for days." I was starting to think. "How long?" She sat up quickly, too quickly, scanning the workshop with those impossible eyes. "How long since the crash?" 72 hours, give or take. She swore, in that musical language, then switched back. "They'll be tracking the signal. I need to move. You need to forget you saw me." "Who's tracking you?" "People who want me dead, or worse." She stood, wobbling slightly, one hand braced against the couch. The loose shirt he'd given her, one of his old flannels, hung off her frame. "You've been kind. Unusually so. But I can't stay." "There's a storm coming," Ethan said, nodding toward the window where rain had started to lash against the glass. "And you can barely stand. Whatever you're running from can wait until morning." She studied him for a long moment, head tilted like a curious bird. "You don't fear me." "Should I?" "Most would." But something in her expression softened. "What's your name?" "Ethan Webb." "I'm Kayla." She sat back down, exhaustion winning over urgency. "And Ethan Webb, you may have just ruined your life by saving mine." By the 5th day, Kayla could walk without trembling. She spent hours in the workshop watching Ethan work, studying the way he coaxed broken engines back to life with patience instead of technology. "Your people fix things slowly," she observed, perched on a workbench with her legs tucked under her. "We make it last." Ethan didn't look up from the carburetor he was cleaning. "Fast fixes don't hold. On my world, nothing is meant to last, only to function until it's replaced." "Sounds lonely." She went quiet. Outside, the October wind rattled the barn doors. When he finally glanced up, she was watching him with an expression he couldn't read. "I repaired your communicator," Ethan said, wiping his hands. "It's in the workbench drawer. Should work now." Kayla's eyes widened. Why would you tell me that?" "Because I'm not keeping you prisoner. You said you needed to contact your people. So contact them." She crossed to the drawer slowly, pulled out the small device he'd painstakingly reassembled. Its surface rippled with light at her touch. One activation and rescue would come. She stared at it for a full minute. Then she shut it off and set it aside. Kayla, I'm not going back. Ethan straightened. What? I said I'm not going back. Her voice was firm, but her hands shook slightly. Do you know what I was before this? A negotiator. A bridge between powerful families. I was chosen for it at birth, matched, trained, prepared to bond with someone I'd never met for political advantage. She turned to face him fully. I had no say in my life. None. Every moment was predetermined. Every connection transactional. Her black eyes caught the light. Then I fled, stole an escape pod, and crashed on a planet where a stranger pulled me from wreckage and asked for nothing. I'm not, that's just. Human, she finished. Yes, you act without calculation. You saved me because I was hurt, not because it benefited you. Do you understand how rare that is? Ethan felt heat creeping up his neck. You can't just stay here because I was decent to you. Why not? Because there's people hunting you. Because you don't belong here. Because, he stopped frustrated. Because I'm nobody. A mechanic in a nowhere town who'll never be anything special. Kayla stepped closer, close enough that he could feel the electric warmth radiating from her skin. You're wrong, she said softly. You're someone who saw a stranger and chose kindness. On my world, that would make you either a fool or a saint. Here, you're just you. She reached up, hesitant, and touched his face with cool fingers. I want to understand that. I want to understand you. Ethan's breath caught. This is insane. Perhaps. Her thumb traced his jaw. But I've spent my whole life being sane and controlled and obedient. I'm tired of it. He should step back, should say something smart. Instead, he let his hand cover hers. They'll come looking, he managed. Let them. Kayla's other hand slid to his chest, feeling his heartbeat. I was rescued once. I won't run again. The kiss happened like gravity, inevitable and overwhelming. Her lips were cool, but warmed quickly, and when she pressed against him, Ethan felt that electric current everywhere they touched. She made a sound low in her throat, fingers tangling in his hair. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Ethan rested his forehead against hers. This is definitely insane. Good, Kayla whispered. I'm done with sanity. Outside, neither of them noticed the faint drone passing overhead, scanning for signals it would never find. 2 weeks passed like a fever dream. Kayla learned to drink coffee without wincing, to laugh at Ethan's terrible jokes, to move through his small world without drawing attention. She wore his oversized hoodies and learned to cook eggs, burning them spectacularly the first 4 attempts. Your food requires exact timing, she complained, scraping charred remains into the trash. So, does yours? Probably, Ethan said from the doorway, grinning. You just had machines do it. We had efficiency. We have character. She threw a dish towel at him. At night, she slept in his bed while he took the couch, until the 4th night, when she appeared in the living room doorway wrapped in a blanket. This is ridiculous, she said. Your couch is terrible, and I can hear you not sleeping. Kayla, I'm not asking for anything you don't want to give. Her voice was quiet, but I'm also not fragile. If you want space, say so. If you don't. She left it hanging. Ethan sat up slowly. I don't want space. Then stop being noble about it. They didn't make love that night, not yet. But they lay tangled together in the darkness, her head on his chest, his fingers tracing the strange silver scars from her wounds. She told him about her world. Cities that grew like crystals, oceans that sang, a sky with 2 suns that never quite set. Do you miss it? He asked. I miss what it could have been. Her finger drew patterns on his skin, but not what it was. What was it? A beautiful cage. She shifted to look at him. Every moment scripted. Even intimacy was transactional, performative, a duty to produce heirs or strengthen alliances. Ethan's hand stilled on her back. That's horrible. It was normal. She kissed his collarbone softly. This is horrible. Lying here with someone I chose, who chose me back, with no plan or purpose except being together. It's terrifying. But I can't stop wanting it. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Wanting you. He tilted her chin up and kissed her properly, deeply, feeling her melt against him. When they finally pulled apart, her skin was glowing faintly, an unconscious reaction she couldn't control around him anymore. "You're luminescent," he murmured. "It's involuntary. You make me feel things. Good things. Dangerous things." But she was smiling. "Show me more." Their first real night together was nothing like the cold efficiency she'd described. It was hesitant and hungry, fumbling and electric. Ethan learned that her skin tasted like ozone before a storm, that she gasped in that musical language when he kissed her throat, that her fingers left faint, glowing prints everywhere they touched him. Am I doing this right?" he asked at one point, suddenly self-conscious. Kayla pulled him down until they were nose to nose. "There is no right. There's only us. And this is," her breath hitched as he moved, "this is perfect." Afterward, lying in a tangle of sheets and limbs, Ethan traced the luminescent patterns now flowing across her skin like bioluminescent waves. "You're beautiful," he said. "I'm alien. Can't you be both?" She laughed, the sound like bells. "With you, I think I can be anything." But outside, in the darkness beyond the farmhouse, something was stirring. The drones had stopped searching randomly. They'd started searching systematically, and they were getting closer. The first drone appeared on a Tuesday morning, hovering silently above Ethan's mailbox. Kayla saw it through the kitchen window and went absolutely still, coffee cup frozen halfway to her lips. "Ethan." The ice in her voice brought him running. She pointed without speaking. The drone was small, sleek, nothing like human technology. It scanned the farmhouse once, twice, then zipped away into the treeline. "How long until more come?" Ethan asked. "Hours, maybe less." Kayla set down the cup carefully. "They know I'm here now, or near here. They'll triangulate, send retrieval units. Then we run." "To where?" She turned to him. "Ethan, they have ships that can scan continents in minutes. There's nowhere on this planet they can't eventually find me. So, what, you just surrender?" "I send a message. Tell them I'm alive, but refuse extraction. They'll leave eventually. Find someone else to fill my role." Ethan crossed his arms. "And if they don't accept that..." Kayla's silence was answer enough. "Right?" Ethan grabbed his jacket. "Then we make it harder for them. Come on." He drove them to town, risky but necessary. At a small electronic shop he bought prepaid phones, a signal jammer, and everything he needed to build a Faraday cage. The clerk gave him strange looks but took his cash. "You know this won't stop them permanently," Kayla said as they drove back. "Don't need permanent. Just need time to think." "Ethan, I'm not losing you." His hands tightened on the wheel. "Not to them, not to anyone. We'll figure something out." She touched his arm, and even through his jacket, he felt that electric warmth. "Why? Why fight so hard for someone you barely know?" "Because," he struggled for words. "Because in 2 weeks, you've become the best part of my day. Because you laugh at my stupid jokes and burn eggs and glow when I..." He cleared his throat. "Because for once in my boring, predictable life, something matters. You matter." Kayla looked away quickly, but not before he saw the shimmer in her black eyes, tears, or whatever passed for them. That night, they fortified the workshop. Ethan installed the jammer, rigged motion sensors, did everything he could think of. Kayla watched with a mixture of amazement and sorrow. "This won't be enough," she said quietly. "I know. They'll send enforcers. Warriors. I could hurt you just by being here. You already hurt me by talking about leaving." Ethan turned to her. "Look, I'm not stupid. I know this is insane. I know I'm just some guy, and you're your everything. But I'm not giving up without a fight." Kayla crossed the space between them in 3 strides and kissed him hard enough to make him stumble back against the workbench. When she pulled away, her skin was glowing so brightly he could see every luminescent vein. "Then we fight," she whispered. "Together." They made love there in the workshop, fierce and desperate, surrounded by tools and half-built defenses. She left glowing handprints on his skin that faded slowly. He mapped every luminescent line of her body with his mouth until she was trembling and gasping in that musical language. "Say my name," she demanded, fingers tangled in his hair. "I want to hear it. Not my title, not my designation. Just my name." "Kayla," he breathed against her skin. "Kayla, Kayla." Later, wrapped in his jacket with her head on his shoulder, she said, "On my world, there's a concept, roughly translated, choosing to fall. It means deliberately letting yourself love someone even when it's dangerous, even when it's forbidden." "Do you?" Ethan asked. "Love me?" "I'm falling," she said simply, "and I'm not trying to stop." Above them, more drones gathered in the night sky, like metal stars. They came at dawn. Ethan woke to alarms screaming and Kayla already on her feet, her metallic arm brace glowing with active power. Through the window, he saw them. 3 ships hovering above the farmhouse, sleek and angular, humming with barely contained energy. "Stay inside," Kayla commanded. "Like hell." He grabbed the hunting rifle from above the door, useless against their technology, but it was something. "Ethan, please." Together, remember? A beam of light lanced down from the nearest ship, and a figure materialized in the yard. Tall, armored, unmistakably alien. Then another, and another. Kayla stepped outside. Ethan followed. The lead figure removed their helmet, revealing features similar to Kayla's, but harder, colder. When she spoke, it was in that musical language. Kayla responded in kind, her voice sharp. "What are they saying?" Ethan asked quietly. "They're ordering me to return. I'm refusing." She switched to English, clearly for his benefit and theirs. "I invoke my right to choose sanctuary." The lead enforcer's expression didn't change. "There is no sanctuary from duty." "Then duty is broken." Kayla's hand found Ethan's. "I choose to stay. With a human." The enforcer's voice dripped contempt. "You would abandon your people, your purpose, for a primitive attachment? I would abandon a prison for freedom." Kayla's fingers tightened on Ethan's. "This human showed me what choice looks like, what freely given affection means. I won't go back to being a thing that's traded and used." The enforcer stepped closer. "You think this is love? It's novelty, rebellion. It will fade, and you'll have thrown away everything for nothing." "Maybe," Kayla said, "but it will be my choice, my mistake to make. We cannot allow. You have no authority here." Ethan raised the rifle slightly, not aiming, just reminding them he existed. "This is sovereign territory. You're trespassing." The enforcer barely glanced at him. "The human is irrelevant. The human is mine," Kayla snarled, and suddenly her arm brace was humming with power, energy crackling between her fingers. "And if you want to take me, you'll have to go through him. Through us." The standoff stretched. 3 enforcers, 2 ships with weapons charged, 1 alien woman, and 1 mechanic with a hunting rifle. The math was laughable. Then the lead enforcer did something unexpected. She smiled. "You really have fallen," she said in English. "Completely." She looked at Ethan properly for the first time. "Human, do you understand what you've done? The consequences of harboring her." "Don't care," Ethan said. "They'll send more. Stronger forces. They'll make your life difficult." "Already difficult. I'm okay with it." The enforcer studied them both, then did something with her wrist device. The ship's weapons powered down. "There's a protocol," she said slowly. "Ancient, rarely invoked. If she truly chooses sanctuary, if you truly accept the burden, you could formally claim her." "Claim?" Kayla looked shocked. "A bonding. Recognized even by our laws. She would be yours, you would be hers, and we would have no legal right to separate you." The enforcer's smile was razor-sharp. "Of course, it's permanent, unbreakable, and you'd be tied to a fugitive the rest of your life." Ethan didn't hesitate. "Where do I sign?" "Ethan," Kayla turned to him, eyes wide. "You don't have to. This is forever." "I know." He cupped her face. "I'm falling too, remember? And I'm not trying to stop." The ceremony was brief, conducted in the farmhouse yard at sunrise. The enforcers served as witnesses, their expressions ranging from disapproval to grudging respect. Kayla spoke vows in her language, then in English. Ethan spoke from the heart, stumbling over words, but meaning every one. When it was done, her arm brace flared brilliantly, and a matching mark appeared on Ethan's wrist, luminescent, beautiful, permanent. The enforcers left without another word. The ships rose silently and vanished into the morning sky. Ethan and Kayla stood in the empty yard, bonded, together, staring at the marks on their skin. So, Ethan said eventually, "That just happened." Kayla started laughing, then crying, then both at once, clinging to him as the sun rose higher. "You're insane. You're completely insane." "Yeah." He held her tight. "But I'm yours." "Forever is a very long time. Good thing I'm patient." He kissed her temple. "We'll make it work. Somehow." She pulled back just enough to meet his eyes. "I love you. I don't think I've said it clearly, but I do. Desperately. I love you too." He grinned. "My alien wife. Your impossible wife. My perfect wife." She kissed him there in the yard, glowing so brightly he had to close his eyes. And when she led him back inside, shedding clothes along the way, whispering plans for their impossible future between kisses, Ethan decided that maybe rescue worked both ways. He'd saved her from a crash. She'd save him from a half-life of loneliness. And now they'd save each other every day for as long as forever lasted. Outside, the last drone watched them disappear into the farmhouse, recorded their heat signatures intertwined, and transmitted a final message to distant stars. Subject located. Bond confirmed. Recommend closure of case. Then it, too, left them alone, just a mechanic and an alien woman, choosing each other against all odds, in a quiet farmhouse where broken things were made whole again. The end.